Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday morning, the 21st of July. And in this video, I want to talk about people who go missing in foreign countries. I'm in the UK, so I want to talk about people from the UK who go missing overseas. Since the disappearance of Jay Slater and the subsequent finding of his body 4 weeks later, if you've been following that case, you know all about it. It's publicised the plight of families and just the horrendous time they have in trying to track down their loved one. And the media is talking about this issue. And to be honest, until Jay went missing, I've never really given this serious consideration, like just how difficult it is for families to navigate the system, even trying to get their loved one recognised as a missing person. This came out yesterday in The Guardian, so I'm going to read through this. I want to talk a little bit further about Ben Ross, who is the young man who is currently missing in Majorca, which is a Spanish island, not in the Canary Islands where Jay went missing, another set of Spanish islands. And Majorca is a well-known destination for holidaymakers from the UK. Ben was out there doing some work. He's a trainee barrister from my neck of the woods, Goulburn, near Wigan. He went to visit friends over there, like taking a break out from his studies. He decided to stay there for the summer, get a job, temporary job there. And he's just disappeared. He's not been seen since the 10th of July. Did a live stream about him and another missing person as well, called Michael Frisson, who is currently missing in Sardinia, which is in Italy. So I want to read this article just to start off with. Some countries do very little. Agony for UK families of people missing abroad. So although relatively few people go missing abroad, thankfully, there are probably more than we've ever realised. A relative going missing is already one of the most difficult situations any family can go through. When a loved one vanishes abroad, language barriers, cultural differences, and significant financial challenges can make it even harder. The high-profile investigation into the disappearance of Jay Slater, 19, from Lancashire, who went missing after attending a music festival in Tenerife. His body was found and he has been identified, and they're now in the process of getting Jay home. Also in June, just a few days before Jay went missing, the television presenter, Dr. Michael Mosley, disappeared while on holiday with his wife and friends on the Greek island of Symi, and his body sadly was found 4 days later. He'd succumbed to heat exhaustion. It was really, really hot on Symi that day. My son Kyle and his girlfriend were actually on the next island. They were on holiday in Rhodes at the same time, and they were going to go to Symi on that day. They were going to get a boat and go to Symi on that day, but it was just too hot. Like, Kyle remembers how hot it was that particular day. Michael Mosley was found, but he was a few hundred feet away from safety. It's such a cripplingly horrendous situation, but across Europe and beyond, many other families are searching for loved ones who have disappeared. Some of them in recent weeks. For example, 25-year-old Michael Frisson from Chard in Somerset has been missing for 8 days now. Went missing last Saturday evening when he went for a walk in the countryside in Sardinia. He'd been visiting relatives on the island and volunteering on a farm. He was suffering from heat exhaustion, dehydration. He was very confused, very, very sleepy, like they'd given him water and he'd been resting. But then at 5:18 that night, he just took his clothes off and went for a walk. I don't know whether he took all of his clothes off, but it's a very rural, wooded area there. No, they've still not found him. And then there's a very mysterious disappearance of Ben Ross, the 26-year-old trainee barrister, i.e. lawyer, from Goulburn near Wigan, who moved to Palma, Majorca, after taking a break from studying. But he was only staying there for the summer. Not been seen since 10th of July after his belongings were stolen from a beach, and he then had a disagreement with his flatmates and they wanted to evict him, and it just all blew up. And his mother is beside herself, absolutely beside herself. She received an email that's presumably from him on July the 10th saying that he wasn't in a good place, and then nothing. And Felix Robinson, Ben's mother, says this: like any mother, no matter what age your children are, they are still your children. I just need to know my son is safe and well. The last few days have been torture. While there's been several recent cases in the news, still it's not very common for people to disappear while abroad, said Professor Karen Shalev-Green, the director of the Centre for the Study of Missing Persons at Portsmouth University. Green said data showed somewhere between 700 and 1,000 people a year go missing abroad, which is minute compared to the annual cases domestically. Still, it's 700 to 1,000 people, and I would imagine that the majority of those people are found successfully, just like the majority of people that go missing domestically are found and everything's fine. Same the world over. There's thousands and thousands of people reported missing every year worldwide, and the majority of them do turn up. Green said many reasons why people went missing universal, such as mental health issues, but she said the risk of accidental death could be increased abroad because people were in an unknown environment and may be taking part in more risky activities. They've also got the guard down. They may be drinking more alcohol than they normally do. The environment, like the environment Jay Slater found himself in, was completely alien to what he's used to in Oswaldtwistle in Lancashire. Just that mountainous terrain, those ravines, like nothing ever experienced before. Dr. Michael Mosley in Greece, heat exhaustion. This week, we've had a British woman, don't know that her name's been released, 66-year-old woman who was on one of the Greek islands, and she's died of heat exhaustion. The heat does it. Now, the heat didn't affect Jay, because we know that the temperature actually in Tenerife, the day Jay went missing, wasn't really that hot at all. It was quite warm, but not hot. But in the rare cases where this happens for family, it's hell. I think what the public doesn't understand is that UK authorities have no jurisdiction in other countries at all. So unless they are invited, it's completely up to the local forces or law enforcement agencies to respond. And this happened in Jay's case. The Lancashire Constabulary offered to help with the search for Jay, and they were turned down. And then you get into different cultures, different practices, the barriers of language. Some countries do very, very little. Unless there's a suspicion of abduction or homicide, they don't consider missing people an issue, particularly when it comes to adults. Well, we can say the same about this country as well, which I'll talk about in a moment, because it's made me a little bit angry. Families, all of a sudden, have to not only navigate the practicalities of searching for someone who's missing, but they also have the added issue of time difference, language barriers, totally different cultures. They oftentimes will want to go out to where the person went missing from, and that can be very costly. They don't always have the funds to do that. While missing persons investigations are led by domestic police forces, the international law enforcement agency Interpol issues yellow notices, global police alerts for missing people. One of those is Madeleine McCann. But there's currently 69 yellow notices for missing Britons, including Maddie McCann and also Claudia Lawrence, another well-known UK case, who was reported missing when she didn't turn up for work in March 2009. So these can be requested by police forces in the country where the person is from, or from the one where they went missing, and are often used in cases of parental abductions, criminal abductions, or unexplained disappearances, often used to help find people who may not be able to come forward themselves. Paul Joseph, the head of helplines and reconnections at the charity Missing People, said, often, if people are away in a different place, the likelihood of them then maybe getting into trouble, being lost, or being somewhere and not knowing how to access the right help may be greater. Also, people on holiday having a good time, and maybe they put themselves at risks they necessarily wouldn't do at home. Social media activity, conspiracy theories, and online sleuths now leave many families conflicted about whether to seek help from the public. Jay Slater's family chose to seek help from the public by going to social media, and look how that turned out. And again, I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. Felix Robinson, Ben's mother, said she thought long and hard about appealing to the media after seeing how Jay Slater's family were treated. Debbie Duncan, Jay's mother, said they faced a constant barrage of conspiracy theories and wild speculation. You know, the advice is reach out for help as soon as possible, but what do you do when the authorities are not very helpful? And this is what Felix Robinson has found. This is from a couple of days ago, but she's criticised the police response to Ben Ross going missing. Now, remember, Ben is an adult, but he does suffer from mental health challenges. He was actually sectioned under the Mental Health Act last year when he was here in the UK. So Felix is concerned that Ben might have had a mental health crisis. But the authorities in both the UK and Spain don't appear to be helping. So I'm going to read this. Felix Robinson from Wigan reported Ben, 26, missing to Greater Manchester Police after losing contact with him. His last message to her was an erratic email he sent just days after his phone and wallet was stolen during a swim at a beach. Ben moved over to Palma last month for a job during a break from his studies. No one has seen him since July the 10th, and although Spanish police have checked hospital and arrest records with no luck, they can't open a missing persons investigation until British police instruct them to do so. I can't see that as being a thing. That baffles me. That absolutely baffles me. So in order to report a person missing abroad, Felix's local police force, Greater Manchester Police, must inform Spanish police through Interpol. Felix told Metro newspaper, "I'm at a loss right now. I've had a few days struggling with the police trying to open a missing persons file, and they keep closing it." Despite alerting police of her concerns for Ben's mental health, she claims the force closed both files opened since she first reported him missing on July the 13th. She said police have subsequently reopened the case after she complained. They shouldn't have to go through this. She fears precious time has been lost, as she fears for the well-being of her missing son, who has a history of mental illness. So no one's been looking for him. No one's looking for him. The cops are not out there looking for him. They've checked arrest records. Oh, he's not in jail somewhere. They've checked hospital records. No, he's not in hospital. Well, where is he then? Oh, they just shrug their shoulders and go, don't know. Her friend Carla, who was present when she spoke to the police, told Metro that Greater Manchester Police didn't seem to think that there was anything to worry about. He's just a 26-year-old abroad, and he's just obviously wants to go and have a good time and doesn't want to be talking to his mum, which is just a nonsense standpoint. You could say that about any missing adult then, couldn't you? Oh, well, they just don't want to speak to you. No, you know your loved one better than anyone else. And if you know that they've got mental health challenges and you know that their last contact with you was problematic, then you're going to want to have the authorities actually do something. Greater Manchester Police said it did not classify Ben as a missing person, but instead as a 26-year-old man from Wigan who's travelled to Spain and stopped contact with his friends and family. A spokesperson from Greater Manchester Police said, "We informed them that they should contact the British consulate, who would be able to assist them in the search for their loved one abroad." This is still Greater Manchester Police. "On Wednesday, we assisted the family with submitting a report to Interpol to allow the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office to act on their behalf in Spain." Well, at least that's something. Asked why they hadn't followed the steps for reporting someone missing abroad on July 13th, a spokesperson told Metro it was because Ben was in Spain. So what if Ben's in Spain? The Spanish authorities need the British authorities to liaise with them. Police investigating a missing persons case here in the UK would have to escalate it to the National Crime Agency Missing Persons Unit if they haven't been found within 72 hours. Appealing to her missing son, she said, if he's reading anything, we just want him to know that no one's mad at him. Even if he doesn't want to come home, just let someone know he's okay so we can actually breathe and have a minute. Because right now, we're at breaking point, literally. Just not knowing anything. Felix is currently awaiting receipt of an emergency passport to allow her to fly out to Majorca to search for Ben. I don't want to enter my email, go away. Her friend Carla has launched a GoFundMe, which has received more than £1,500 in donations to fund the journey, along with food and accommodation costs. On the page, they've shared a detailed account of the events leading up to Ben's disappearance. So I talked about all of the backstory yesterday, and it is very worrying. She said, we're trying to make sure that the internet sleuths don't go mad like they did with Jay Slater, like the comments online are already going. I told Felix not to look. She had to tell her kids to stop looking. I mean, come on now, do better. Do better. And I'm talking about the police here. Do better. Do better for these families. I know they're in a bind. I know the British police are in a bind unless they get invited. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But these online trolls, you know, please don't start the same antics with Ben's family as you've been doing with Jay's family. I implore you. I implore you not to. I'll end with this. Christopher Tenerife, the TikToker who was out there searching for Jay, has made a couple of pretty narky TikToks. I gotta say, I agree with him. Yeah, I'm gonna put these TikToks at the end here. I'll leave you with those TikToks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Obviously, a few days ago, you're all aware by now that the remains of Jay were found up there in Barranco, the Juan Lopez, where myself and my team focused our search based on the facts for a number of weeks. It's a tragic outcome for the family, and I just want to say to everyone out there, people, we do have freedom of speech. You have freedom of speech because people have died for that freedom of your speech before you. So I'd like to remind you that it's a privilege that you've got today, and it's a privilege that you can exercise, but it's a privilege that comes with responsibility. So if you want to enjoy the privilege, please also exercise the responsibility. And what I mean by that is a big brother has lost his little brother. A mother has lost a son. And a father's lost his son. So you're free to say whatever you want online. There was people up there looking for Jay that risked their lives to do it. We stuck to the facts. We never deviated. You're free to speculate and say whatever you want, but just give a second for that poor family that have been tortured. They've been tortured by the British media. They've been tortured by people online. They've been tortured by TikTokers and social media people. And they deserve time to absorb this information, take it in. They should be allowed the dignity to heal. They want to take their boy back home. And for those of you that know that what we did, really know what we did, and for those of you who are just following it at a distance, there was no way a British boy was going to be left in a ravine in Spain. A British boy deserved to be found by the Guardia Civil, which he was, and taken home and given all the respects that he deserves. For those of you that really followed what we were doing, you know we knew where he was. And now the family have got some closure. They're still going through hell. They've got to go through all the bureaucracy and the red tape. They're being attacked by people online, and honestly, it's quite disgusting. For those of you that are online that have attacked that family and continue to do so, I just hope you've got the courage to come here and sit in front of me and do that. Attack that family in front of me. I challenge any one of you. If you think you're tough behind your screen and behind your keyboards, and you keep wanting to spouting shit over a family that have gone through the worst thing possible, you've got freedom of speech, and so have I, and I'm exercising my freedom of speech. So if you want to exercise yours, get on a plane, come over here, sit in front of me and exercise your freedom of speech. Or drop it all, and why not use the tools that you've got in your hand for kindness? Why not send the family messages of kindness? Why not send them messages of support? You've got the power in your hands. It just depends the way you want to use it. That family's been tortured and they need love right now. They're going through something that any parent on this planet never wants to have to go to. It never wants to have to go through. So continue doing what you're doing, but I just ask that you do it respectfully, do it with a conscious mind, do it in a tactful way, and remember that everything you do online, you could potentially ruin someone else's life, and someone's got to suffer the consequence of it. That's all I've got to say. I'll keep this short and sweet. For anyone that's tortured that family, and for anyone that's continuing to spread hate, continuing to spread conspiracy theories now the truth's come out, just so you know, there's an army of online tigers. There's an army of online warriors that are out there to make sure the truth is what people know, and all the conspiracy and the nonsense stops. Every day there's going to be a hall of shame, and the army has nothing to do with me. I'm not involved, but I'm so glad they've contacted me, and the army of online tigers are going to name and shame all the people that are continually trying to punish that family. My purpose in life is to protect and serve. Part one of what we did was to understand what happened and where Jay was. Part two was to get him out of there, or get someone to get him out of there. And part three is to protect and serve that family. We're going to protect and serve that family. We're not going away. So you've got freedom of speech. We've got freedom of speech. You've got tools in your hands. We've got tools in our hands. And when this is all said and done, the truth is out there. And the people with integrity, love, kindness, the people that want to protect and serve that family, we're going to win this war. All the rest of you ain't going to win. And there's an army of online tigers protecting and serving that family. And that army of online tigers are going to come after you one by one. So I suggest it might be worth researching the facts, getting to the facts, sticking to the facts, protect and serve that family that have gone through the worst thing possible. Or if you want to stick with the conspiracy theories and you want to try and bully people online and make people suffer, just know there's an army of online tigers coming after you.